The paradoxical era of U.S. history was a time of great social change, welfare policy advancements and stalemates, and contradicting ideological views. The three presidents during this time were Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, and Jimmy Carter. Richard Nixon consistently used conservative rhetoric whilst also enabling some fairly liberal social policy advancements. This contradiction may have been to gain the support of working-class voters, upstage Democrats, broaden the base of the Republican Party, or to gain liberal support for other policies, according to our textbook. In order to do this, Richard Nixon used a floating coalition strategy. According to our textbook, this involved fashioning a coalition of liberal Republicans, moderate Republicans, liberal Democrats, and moderate Democrats, each to serve a different need for his policy enactment. The main results of Richard Nixon's policy and reform include jobs, increased income, expanded policy roles of local government, and using private market instead of direct government provision. Some of Nixon's policies and advancements include supplementary security income, food stamps revisions, revenue sharing, Title 20 of the Social Security Act, family planning programs, affirmative action policies, desegregation of Southern schools, occupational safety and health administration, and more. By the end of Nixon's career, citizens were more focused on crime, inflation, and government spending. In order to gain more support for his own political gain, Nixon turned working and middle-class people against increasingly vocal activists and reformers, and then associated them with the Democratic Party. He also cut social spending in order to combat inflation. Gerald Ford was a staunchly conservative president who chose to exercise his power of veto many times. Fortunately, there was a Democratic majority in Congress, and they were able to override many of these vetoes and gain increased funding for school lunches, education, and health care programs. There also was the Education for All Handicapped Children Act. Jimmy Carter was a Democratic president with support from many different groups of people. However, he inherited a poor economy with double-digit inflation, and he failed to develop necessary connections with legislators to get his measures passed. He also bombarded Congress with, instead of incremental reforms, comprehensive ones that were overwhelming to them. In summary, despite the conservative nature of both Nixon and Ford and the failures of Jimmy Carter, this era was characterized by increased social spending, comprehensive programs that allowed for multi- or single program use, and the mobilization of oppressed groups including women, people of color, senior citizens, and more. In this era, we can also learn from activists such as Marian Edelman and from the failed political and policy strategies